Morgan County 911, where's your emergency?
The intersection at 37 and Hospital Drive, we're going to need some help. There's been a crash
Is the accident in the northbound or southbound lanes?
in the northbound lanes.
How many vehicles are involved in the accident?
There's two vehicles. A school bus hit some kind of a tanker truck. The truck's on its side and something's leaking out of it.
Were you involved in the accident?
No, I've just stopped right behind them.
Can you tell if everyone is out of their vehicles or appears to be injured?
I don't know. I can't see. It looks like there are still kids on the bus.
Can you see any markings or numbers on the tanker? Anything that says hazardous materials?
Can't see it because it's on its side. Well, wait. There's a red diamond on the back with a number. The number's 1202 with a 3 below it.
Did you say the number was 1202 and a 3 below it?
That's it.
Give me your name, please, and a callback phone number.
Mr. DeVille, 765-342-5544.
Okay, we've got officers, ambulances, and rescue trucks en route to help.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
When the call comes in, the dispatcher attempts to obtain all the information from the caller. Most important of these is the location. We need to know the where. In this instance, and in lots of instances, the caller is just a passerby and doesn't have specific details about the incident. This time, the caller was only able to say that there were multiple vehicles involved, some type of leaking substance, and give a number to a DOT placard on the back of the tanker. That DOT placard indicated that the leak was some type of hazardous liquid fuel. After information is gathered, the dispatcher will send first responders to the incident. First responders include law enforcement officers, ambulances, medics, and fire department apparatus. In this instance, with a school bus being involved, a leaking substance, and the possibility of multiple juveniles involved, this would initiate a high priority dispatch, and all available first responders in the area would respond to the scene. The first unit on the scene will establish incident command. At this time, incident command will assess the situation and request any additional personnel. The EMA director will be notified of the situation. The EMA director will open the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and request that dispatch contact the ESFs, the Emergency Support Functions. At this time, dispatch will also contact any city or county officials necessary for the situation. They will also respond to the Emergency Operations Center. The ESFs and the city and county officials can be notified via a mass notification system that is in use by the county. The Morgan County Emergency Management Agency, MCEMA, is the primary organization of city and county government that deals with the various aspects of disasters, both natural and man-made. This office has close ties with state and federal agencies that provide assistance to local government during times of disasters or emergencies. Once the Emergency Management Agency is notified of an emergency or a disaster that requires action, the decision is then made if the event warrants the activation of the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC. If the event requires the activation of the EOC, a message is sent to the appropriate agencies to report to the EOC to staff their position as the appropriate Emergency Support Function, or ESF. The duty of the Emergency Support Functions is to provide support and resources to first responders per the request of the incident commander on the scene. The support and acquisition of resources are filtered through the County Emergency Management Agency, who is the liaison between the local governmental agencies and the state. During the response and recovery of the emergency or disaster, there may be many agencies involved, governmental as well as private sector contractors. This requires a great deal of coordination of resources and monetary support that will ultimately need authorization from city and county leadership as well as the state. This is exceedingly important to maintaining the continuity of government during the event. This will be the foundational basis of this series of informational videos. These videos will address the different types of governmental structure varying in certain counties and their duties to support and help mitigate the event in their jurisdiction.
As a commissioner, the majority of our business is conducted in the public. We're responsible for doing the people's business, and that comes along with a lot of rules and restrictions on public meetings, and normally when we gather together we have to have a majority of our body. We also have to advertise within 2 days' notice to the public, but in the case of a disaster, the state statute gives the presiding officer or the president of the commissioners the authority to make a decision on behalf of the full Board of Commissioners in the event of a disaster until a second and third commissioner can then gather together and resume normal business. In that case, we're not only responsible for running the day-to-day county government, but also responsible as well for running the portion of the government responding to the disaster.
As a county councilman, our responsibility is to make sure that there is a funding mechanism for all those that are on the executive side of government, and that would be your commissioners. So in a disaster, our responsibility would be to make sure that there was money available for the items needed to mitigate the damages.
I think to a large degree it would depend on the type of disaster and the scope of the disaster, but certainly my intuition would be to rely on the experts that are trained to manage the disaster, certainly applying some of my own judgment as well. But I would certainly default to those that know best on how to respond as we look to assess different priorities and determine in what order we're going to execute them.
My first priority would be life safety and to ensure that the public had some continuity and some leadership. So what I would do is, based upon the disaster, just make sure that we communicated well with the public and tell them that things are being addressed in a timely fashion, and that we would work with other branches or unit of government to make sure that they had what they needed.
Number one is the safety and welfare of the public. That certainly is number one. After that, I would look at my role as breaking down barriers for the first responders that are in charge of responding to the disaster, whether it would be emergency funding, emergency legislation, which at the local level we would call an ordinance, whatever I can do to help make their job easier, that they can respond faster, more efficiently, and with the resources that they need, would certainly be a second major issue that I would be concerned about during a disaster.
Well, I've had the unique opportunity of living through 2 disasters here locally, and I feel that the most important thing that one can do that's an elected official is to install confidence back into the public to make sure that their needs are being addressed as quickly as possible.
The Marion County Emergency Management Agency stands ready to assist other emergency management agencies as well as other public and private institutions in the event of an emergency or disaster. Should we be notified by the Morgan County Emergency Management Agency that they require our assistance, we would activate our Emergency Operations Center and notify the appropriate personnel to respond. Once activated, we would offer whatever support we could to Morgan County. This may come in the form of additional personnel or simply help with the coordination of assets already in use. By coordinating with Morgan County Emergency Management, they can more effectively respond to the situation and better assist first responders.
I'm the EOC manager, so basically my job is to make sure this room runs whenever it needs to. What we're here for is when something occurs in a county or a variety of counties that local jurisdiction can't handle anymore. So they don't have enough police officers, they don't have enough ambulances or firefighters, they don't have sandbags, whatever it is they need, they're going to call here for that resource, basically. Our job is really to support the counties. We never come in and take over. Every incident, every disaster is handled at the most local level possible. And the locals are always in charge of the incident, and we're in a support role. So it's our job is to fill those resource gaps and never to take control of the incident. So the state has lots of stuff. We have just a variety of different agencies. We have state police, Department of Transportation, Indiana National Guard. All of those resources are available to us whenever that incident is occurring, when it's about to occur or has occurred already. So once that incident has occurred, we'll stand this place up. When I say stand this place up, it means bring in all the individuals that we need to be able to manage that situation. There's going to be tons of different things going on in your large-scale incident, so our job is to make sure that all of our resources are being used the correct and most efficient way.